Okay, hello everybody again. Okay, so I did not do a great job with the first one, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm totally excited if you are watching because I found out there's like at least 40 of you watching, which is so cool. I have not quite navigated the chat feature yet. So if you say hi to me and I don't say hi back to you, don't be offended in this video. I will get there. This is just my first time trying to do this via live chat. So I want to jump in and just get you guys the information on these scopes. So coming up on May 10th, 2017, we have got the full moon happening in Scorpio. Now, this is just deep, passionate, intense, hidden energy. And even though we have this really beautiful balance at this moon of the sun being over in Taurus, which is a beautiful fixed sign energy, and the moon being over here in Scorpio, which is a beautiful fixed sign energy, that energy, even though it's wonderful for holding things down and it's wonderful for holding things together, what it makes us want to do is hold on to what we've been doing. No matter what's been going on, we're like, I need to just hold on to life as it has been. And sometimes we want to dig our fingers in too tight. You know what I mean? But at the same time, behind that, there's usually this urge or this belief or this calling or something like that, something nagging at us to actually move forward and do it a little bit differently. So what's also great about happening at this time is that Pluto, our planet of transformation, is actually going to be in a lot of harmony at this moon and help us with this lunation, because it tells us that one, Pluto always says that transformation is inevitable. Something has to die off so that something can live. You know, maybe if you're in a relationship, maybe the relationship has to die off so that you can move on to something else. Maybe the relationship itself has to die off so that it can exist in a different way than it did before. But whatever is going to happen, Pluto in harmony is going to show us that even though change is not always the most gentle thing that we go through, sometimes it's quite unpleasant and sometimes it's quite a mess. You know what I mean? But ultimately, what I think it shows all of us is that you cannot give birth to a new life without some labor, right? And then on the other side, you get something really, really beautiful. Now, early in the morning, when we're looking at this full moon, we are going to have this really beautiful kind of link up between Mercury and Uranus. But that in combination with the intensity of the full moon also being in Scorpio tells us that we can expect to have a lot of unexpected events or a lot of unexpected thoughts or breakthroughs or moments, whatever is going to happen around this full moon time and the 2 weeks to follow. I really think you can expect it to be very unexpected. If you make a plan, it's almost like the plan just completely falls apart or something like that. I mean, I think that unpredictable events are exactly what are needed, actually, because it sparks us into new ideas, new thinkings. We're not very good as humans usually about changing our minds, especially when we're holding down these old things. You know, we've got that fixed energy of the sun moon. So we're holding down these things that we think are supposed to be this way. But instead, these flashes of new thinking with Mercury and Uranus help us see these small little moments where it's like, oh, it could be different. I could be different. I could do this different. And you end up being willing to be a little bit more open-minded, or you have the opportunity to actually see what this full moon is trying to show you. You know, with it being in Scorpio and all of this hidden stuff that happens over there, or deeply psychological things like that, you know, I think some of the things we get to question are, where am I not really showing up in my relationships, right? Where am I not showing up for other people? Another thing is, where am I not having my sexual and intimate needs met? Where am I not really studying what I feel called towards? Is that metaphysics? Is that psychology? Is that detective work? You know, where am I not fulfilling these callings in my life? Some other things I think of are, you know, in the joint resource zone. Really, not only where am I not showing up in these relationships, but what do I need to let go? Like, is there a joint resource in some way, shape, or form, whether it be with another person or an institution or an old set of ideas? What do I need to let go of? Because whatever's going to happen here too, some really critical, vital to your life issues will probably present themselves for your attention and for your reconsideration. The things that scare you. Scorpio is that 8th house, so it is that scary energy, right? What are the deep things you have hidden? The things that scare you, make you feel insecure, the things that make you feel out of balance, the things that challenge you because they're some of the best gifts and talents you could ever offer to the world. We're going to see that happening here as well, and your attention will need to be given to them. But if we use this Mercury Uranus and we use the transformative Pluto energy, we see that there are some real opportunities sitting right in front of you, not down the road in a couple months, but right now. There are opportunities. There are people who have popped into your life and you're like, whoa, where did you come from? You know, you are challenging everything I think I believe. And maybe these people and these events and these opportunities are showing up because they're right on time. There's a lot of magic right in front of you. Do not miss it, even if you can't understand that it's right in front of you. So try at this mood to look a little bit more fearlessly. All right, guys, let's take a look really quick at what each of these signs are really going to be focusing on, okay? So we're going to start right here with Aries, of course. So Aries, right here, firstborn of the zodiac, the things that are going to really be popping into your awareness and your consciousness are probably quite emotional, because this is Scorpio going to be in your 8th house. I mean, it's not only in your 8th house with a full moon, it literally like lets the floodgates down basically. So this is in your 8th house. This is intimacy. This is connections to other people, right? Your joint connections to other people, your joint connection to your pure truth. What's the real genuine truth for you, right? Are you holding on to situations in your life and you're like, maybe this will work out? Well, what's really the truth? Because you have the truth and it will set you free. Now, one of the other things I think very much so is that at this full moon, you could be having an interaction with somebody in your life, and this takes it to another notch. Now, does that mean it brings the romance up? Yeah, maybe. Maybe you're like, I'm just willing. I don't know. I'm scared to death, but let's just give this a try, right? You could easily be right there. But I also think that this could be an interaction with another person that you're just trying to figure out what to do with, and it maybe is a little bit intense. I would say, try and be grounded here. Slow down. You don't have to make any big decisions today. In fact, the people who are trying to make you make big decisions right now are usually the ones who that's not your opportunity. You know what I mean? You're going to be so emotionally charged here with just an intensity that if you slow down and realize that you have time, faith is in the time, that you can make all the decisions in these areas, whether it be your finances or other people that you really need to. All right, Taurus. I wouldn't be surprised with this energy being in your opposite. It's obviously going to be in the 7th house, because whenever we're in the opposite, we're dealing with relationships. So we're dealing with other people. If you've had attachments to other people that are not healthy, or those other people, you're attached to them, but they're not really moving in your direction, whatever these attachments could have been, if they're even attachments to an old version of you, right? If you're like, oh, I still need to be the person I was last year, well, you're not. Like, this is not going to work out if you keep trying to do that. Wherever these potentially unhealthy attachments have been, there's just no fooling yourself about it now, right? Like, Scorpio's a detective. He's willing to just get to the bottom of what's going on and tell you the truth. He's perceptive, he's intuitive, and he's like, no deal. We've got to let go of these unhealthy attachments. And even if some of these attachments are to things like food or material things, right? Whatever this looks like, you become very much so aware of it. And this full moon helps you see that it's time to let something go, as well as to demand, right? To demand that you and someone else, or you and something else in the situation, start to show up in a way that is actually a lot more beneficial to the both of you. Gemini, this month you're going to be seeing this full moon happening in your 6th house. This is not only the house of work, the body, of course, you could be doing something with your body, but I think a lot of work. When I think of Gemini, I think work, but this is also the house of daily routines and plans. So one of the things that I think that this really does is, first of all, it may be showing you, this full moon may be showing you that maybe you're so busy and you're so on the go that you're actually not taking very good care of your health. And so it puts you in a position where it demands that you relook at your daily routine in your life, because it's asking you to get to the bottom of it. Stop playing around. Stop fooling yourself, right? You've got to rest, right? You are a sign that is quick moving, but you've also got to rest yourself and take care of yourself, because if you don't, you're just going to burn out, and that's not good for anybody. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for those around you. Now, the thing is I don't think that this is any big thing where you're like, oh, I have to just change everything today. No, that's the faith is in the time, right? You can make small changes and there'll be huge adjustments to the way you do things, because the first thing that change will do is challenge your thinking. And if you can think a little bit outside of the box with this full moon, I think it'll help you make some positive changes and ultimately not be such a crazy, not running around going in 75 different directions all of the time. Cancer, you're going to get a shot to the 5th house. So this full moon being in Scorpio is going to, it could very quickly intensify a relationship for you. Maybe you're seeing somebody, maybe, whatever it is, especially if it's something romantic or something that you find fun. If you're in relation with another person, this could intensify it very quickly. Like you're ready to move it forward. Maybe you're considering, moving something that used to be a friendship, now you're moving it into a romance, or maybe I even think in some ways, this could be that you speak something that is not fully true. Like you almost damage a relationship because you say something that's not really true, and you're still kind of sitting a little on the truth. But what's interesting is that I think you end up knowing that that's not the truth, because this Scorpio full moon is just not going to give up. It's not going to let you speak in a shallow way. The nice thing, this is a fellow water sign, so it's actually very comfortable for you. So I guess my question when I think about it for you, Cancer, is I'm like, what's true for you? What's true in your heart? What is, when you express what you really want, what you really need in your life, what is true about that? Because the truth will set you free. And whatever is in your heart, it's necessary to speak it at this time. And likely you will anyway. All right, Leo. So, all right. You're getting some full moon happening in your 4th house. So this is the house of family, domestic things, home, real estate, property, those kinds of things. So yeah, it could certainly be shining some light on something that's happening with a property, or something. Maybe you get information from a friend or a relative or something like that. Maybe there's a lot of possessiveness going on. Scorpio is a very possessive and jealous sign at the same time. So maybe you have something going on in your home life that's like that. But I also feel like, in a way, one of the things that's happening is your root foundational ideas are changing so much that you may actually feel like an alien in your own life for the time at this full moon and then the couple weeks after, because it's like you have no real sense of where you're at. The lay of the land is completely new. And what I can tell you is that in this, if you're trying to make changes, find the right people to confide in, right? You need somebody you can trust. You also need somebody who knows kind of what they're doing on this new planet that you've arrived on. But I don't feel like this is the time this month where you're going to be rushing out, taking everything that you're trying to do, all the information you get, even if you're, you are doing home repairs. I don't feel like this is the time with this full moon that you actually do them. I think you become aware that you need to do them, but it's almost like you kind of have this slight reserve that you're tucking it a little bit closer to your own heart, closer to your own home before you're ready to share it with the world. And that's really, really good. The only thing I will tell you to keep in mind is work on what you love, Leo. Don't do anything but what you love, because if not, you will absolutely regret it. Okay, Virgo, man, I like a full moon for you. And I especially like it in the 3rd house, because that's where it's going to be happening for you. You're already a Mercury ruled sign, so you're already a thinker, right? Like you're a thinker. And now with the 3rd house, the full moon, along with that Pluto, bringing transformation and new energy and new light into your 3rd house of communication, decision making, thinking, all of those kinds of things. I feel like what happens with this full moon for you is that your brain is just kind of flooded a little bit, right? Like you've really big, ambitious thinking. You're trying to maintain a very sensible perception of what you're doing. But it may even feel like it's a little bit hard because you're also going to have that Uranus energy, and they're throwing so many new ideas, throwing so many new thoughts or maybe ways to do things in there that your objective analysis is not really working out. It's like, oh, I actually am clouded by my feelings and I don't have an exact, like it's not going according to plan. What's beautiful about it though, is that you're a rational sign. You're a rational earth sign. So if problems present themselves, if you find yourself, you're thinking too big or you're getting overwhelmed so much so that you can't even actually make a plan, being so rational will actually help you, because you can say, okay, that's too much, that's too big. How do I slow this down and make some plans that are a little bit more realistic and get a strategy in place? So now, one of the things too, I think you have to be mindful of with this third house is that the mind of a human being is very big, very magnifying. It just can expand things like crazy. So be mindful not to make something so big or so small, right? Or so exaggerated that you actually end up with these expectations of how it's going to come out, and they don't come out that way. So save yourself the resentment, and expectations are just pre-planned resentments. So try and save that. Save yourself from that. Try and just be grounded, steady, and think about what's happening right in front of you. Libra, money is on the brain. We're looking at the full moon happening in just your neighbor, but in the second house, okay? So money is on the brain. You've got financial decisions to make here. You've got maybe financial cleanup to be doing. I will tell you, be cautious, Libra, in thinking about your money. Don't overthink it. Don't get yourself into analysis paralysis, but overspending at this time with that moon being blown up, with Uranus being over there, this could be a time where you may be prone to overspending or spending on something that you don't really need. I would highly suggest, if you feel like you have to have it because you are a Venus ruled sign, right? If you feel like you have to have it, it's the thing that you absolutely need to get the job done or to whatever, just run it by somebody outside of yourself that you trust to be neutral, and let them tell you what they hear you saying, because it's just not a solid time for making some really big major purchase right now. But if you can get another person involved as kind of a sounding board, it'll help you process and to get a little bit more clear on what it is you're actually trying to spend that money on. Because whatever you're trying to spend money on has value to you. We just need to see what the value is you're trying to achieve, okay? Scorpio, you've got a full moon happening in your sign. So this is first house type business. And I think one of the things we become aware of when the full moon is in our sign is if we have anything left undone, right? Do I have tasks that I haven't done? Do I have, work things that I haven't finished? What am I still carrying on my shoulders and it's taking space in my head at night? What do I need to get done? So the other thing I think that happens is that you maybe have you have an easier opportunity to acknowledge frustrations you may have, or to acknowledge a desire to have fun or to do something different. If there's anything that you're having anxiety around, and maybe it felt even impossible before, I think you get some clarity here. And it's really great because when we have the full moon or the new moon in our signs, we're actually very, very inspired to get on track with what's right for us. So being in your first house, I definitely think that that's true for you at this full moon. Sagittarius, you're going to be having this full moon in a very quiet part of your chart. So this is the 12th house, the house of fears, of closure, of our spiritual practices, of secrets, absolutely of secrets, right? So, and of compassion, of course. So if there is a secret that you have, Sagittarius, I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a secret you've been keeping, you may find people showing up in your life really wanting to know about what that secret is. If you've been having a secret romance or affair, this could be a time where it is not only exposed, but maybe even ended. Something could change about that in some way, shape, or form. But what it's going to do, I think, is remind you to continue to move forward, because from the 12th house, we have to step into our fears. Have you been afraid to end this relationship? Have you been afraid to take on a new meditation? Have you been afraid to allow closure to come around something? Because whatever it is, the full moon is just going to demand that you look at it square and say, what am I doing here? So I really like that here. One of the other things I was actually kind of thinking of with you, because you're an exaggerated sign, which you're just ruled by Jupiter. So it's easy for you to exaggerate or make it bigger or things like that. Don't overcommit yourself at this full moon and the 2 weeks after, right? Because you're going to need your energy to still work on stuff. The 12th house is a quiet house, and it's an emotional house if we're getting a full moon flooding into it. Okay, Capricorn, the Scorpio full moon is going to illuminate your 11th house. So this is a very social house. The first thing I think of is I think of friends, right? What's going on with your friends? What's going on with your social networking? What's going on with your technology? Are you getting ready for an upgrade? Are you getting ready with the full moon? Is a piece of technology or a friendship about to fall apart? Does it need to be adjusted? Right? But the other thing I think about is that you're such a grounded earth sign that maybe at this full moon, you see that the adjustment you need to make is that you actually need to cooperate and collaborate with people more. And maybe you're even already feeling inspired to do that. And so it's really kind of a nice place, I think. And I think the thing that challenges you with this full moon is that sometimes to collaborate or to cooperate means that you don't get to do your own thing, and that may really be challenging you. And if you do it though, to where you go collaborate and you put something that you maybe wanted to do to the side for just a second, you see that you have a lot of space to do exactly what you want. Now, the other thing I'll tell you is for some of you Capricorns, what's going to happen is because you've been in this take back place for a very long time where you were the rock of the family for so long, and now you're like, Capricorn needs to do something for Capricorn, right? But you've done it for so long now that I think what happens is you start to go, now wait a minute, I have a lot of me in my life. I think about me a lot. I'm worried about my life a lot. And you find that you need to kind of give away your time. You need to give away your creativity. You need to step it out there. You need to share that with the world, because in giving away what you are doing and what you're working on, it actually increases your own productivity in your normal everyday world. And it also helps you stay grounded and sane. It's like give it away to keep it, kind of. Okay, Aquarius. So you are going to be having the full moon in Scorpio in your 10th house. This is wonderful. This tells us that some career changes are definitely on the way, on the agenda, and you'll be definitely taking part in that, I'm sure. So maybe we've got a career ending. The other thing I'm kind of thinking of is if you do have a boss, or maybe even just coworkers, somebody starts to realize that you're really brilliant at what you do. And it's kind of like they start to seek your wisdom or your counsel about how to do something. Now, at the same time, with this full moon here, it could be highly emotional. So maybe your feelers get hurt, right? Like somebody doesn't love your work and you're like, I mean, can you see it? It's fabulous, but you get your feelings hurt. So any problems that are going to come up, though, I think around any of the work stuff, the career stuff, or even just that 10th house being the soul level calling, anything that's going to come up there, try not to harm anybody else. Look for unique ways and different ways to solve those things, and realize that you're not limited to the career that you have now. If you want to do something else, of course, you have to take care of your responsibilities and things like that. But if you are wanting to do something other than what you're doing right now, just starting to spin some ideas around of what that could be, or maybe talking to somebody outside of yourself, is a wonderful place to start. Okay, Pisces. Pisces. You've got a full moon happening in your 9th house. The biggest thing I think about the 9th house is faith. This is a faithful house. You've got to step out on a big leap of faith if you're going to make any changes. Now, some of the other things we do in the 9th house, of course, are higher learning, schooling, things like that, travel, especially international travel, things like that. But broadcasting, publishing, that happens from the 9th house as well. Now, with this full moon being there, I think it shows you that in some way, shape, or form, you have to get out into the world differently than you have if you're going to make any dreams come true, or if you're going to pursue something different. This could even have you, I would think, maybe in a space of maybe there's something completely different you want to pursue or study or go after. And I think this full moon helps you see that it's okay to transform in that way and start something different. Now, one of the things I think that this full moon indicates for you that you should not do is put your plans on hold, right? You don't need to be on hold right now. Realign with what it is that you want to do and start to take baby steps towards it. That's really the way you're going to expand out in the world. But if you keep having this space of passiveness where it's like maybe next time, maybe next time, maybe next time, you're ultimately never going to get to where you're trying to get to. And then we're going to end up really, really missing out on what you have to offer, which is just so incredibly sad. So I don't want you to do any of that. Don't do any sad stuff, okay? All right, guys, I am excited for the full moon. Clearly, I like that it is going to be bringing an ending, a culmination of something, adjustment, change. Whatever is going to happen at this full moon, change is going to come with it. And go with the change. If something's trying to fall out of your life, don't try and grab it and hold on to it. Let it go, because sometimes things have to fall away so that they can fall back a lot better prepared for us at the place where we're actually supposed to be. So I love you guys a ton. If you stuck in there with me through this first live broadcast, I just love your face so much. I appreciate you guys absolutely and incredibly. And I look forward to seeing you this week as we continue with 90 videos in 90 days. As well, tomorrow I will start talking to you about the free web seminar coming up, Women Rise Up, Super Empowerment. We've got all kinds of beautiful speakers and experts, including Dr. Wayne Dyer's daughter, Sky Dyer. We're going to be teaching. I will be teaching with her, speaking with her, and giving you guys a lot of information about empowerment. So I look forward to talking to you guys about that this week as well. So I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.